Hello and welcome back to my channel. After receiving an email from my previous mortgage lender stating that they are now transforming into Serve Bank, I went on a little search to find out what sort of policies they're now going to be upholding. So I did a little search on Serve Bank, and it said at Serve Bank, it's in our DNA. And I added the DNA part because when I initially put, what is Serve Bank, I didn't use the term. But when I saw that they added this, it's in our DNA, it got me questioning some things about what they're actually up to. And so I went to their website. And I'm not saying anything, but, they're saying that the subservicing experience is subpar, basically. And now Serve Bank is stepping in to, I guess, acquire other mortgage lenders. They're all merging into one unit. And they say, Serve Bank, this is in our DNA to be subservient. And to me, they're sending subliminal messages. But as you scroll down, technology, unlike any other SIME, puts exceptional servicing power into total transparency at your fingertips. Total transparency. Is your subservicer compliant? Compliance, compliance, compliance. This is the kind of terms that they're using for business, guys. And it just is kind of hair-raising in a way, because you're like, okay, why are they using these types of words for a service? And they're saying that it's compliance on their end to make sure that the subservicing is done properly. But why use these terms? Partnering with us gives you 3 lines of defense: business unit risk management, compliance, testing, and monitoring. What? And internal audit. All work in unison and collaboratory access across our entire organization to assure we're compliant with federal, state, and agency requirements. What are going to be the new requirements? That is the question. Now, after doing this, it was weird because I'm just searching the internet and I came across this. This was in the same search. Let me show you. So here's Serve Bank. This is the page that I originally looked at, professional services for DNA. And it's only doing this because I added Serve Bank DNA because they put it in their description. You go down here and you look at all these things and it's like, okay, professional services for DNA, okay, because DNA is becoming the actual currency for the future. Serve Bank is a DBA of Allied First Bank, and they're in Phoenix, Arizona. But then down here, it says that Serve Bank Holdco Inc. agreed to acquire Allied First Bank Corp. But I thought, it's a DBA of Allied First Bank. I thought it was like, part of it. But no, they've actually completed the acquisition of Allied First Bank Corp. Okay, that's, no surprise there. They're starting to monopolize everything, putting everything together as one. But I scrolled all the way down and I went DNA versus RNA and the key differences in comparison. And it says here that when you click on this, because you want to know, it's the blueprint for all genetic information contained within an organism. What is interesting is that these descriptions change when you click on them a second time. I don't know if you guys have been noticing this with the internet, but if you click on a website and then try to go back, the descriptive boxes, 9 times out of 10 that you once saw that were there, change, just like that one did. So what caught my eye on this, for this website to look at it, was that the RNA cannot maintain its form in an alkaline environment. And I was like, that's an interesting thing. So let's just read some of this that's on here. And I don't click their agreements and things their privacy policy agreements. I don't click any of that because I don't agree. I don't consent, so I don't give my free will away. But this is the DNA versus RNA, 5 key differences in comparison. And this was in 2020. These are some of the descriptives of what all is in DNA: thymine, cytosine, adenine. And this is everything in existence. So it's not just our DNA that is shaped this way. These are all scalar waves. And they found that pretty much everything in existence has a scalar wave shape. And that's what light frequency does. It emits these scalar waves. So this DNA and RNA are perhaps the most important molecules in cell biology, responsible for the storage and reading of genetic information that underpins all life. They are both linear polymers, consisting of sugars, phosphates, and bases, but there are some key differences which separate the two. These distinctions enable the two molecules to work together and fulfill their essential roles. Here we look at 5 differences between the two. And before we delve into the differences, we take a look at these side by side. All right, so here, this is RNA. Usually what they've found out they can do is they can use the CRISPR technology to clip some of this DNA off and then put this RNA on and have it attach. So this is the helix and base structure of RNA and DNA. Then we go down. How does it differ? There are several differences between the two. These include 2 molecules' functions and structure, the length, the sugar, and the base molecules. They contain their location, their activity to enzymes, and ultraviolet light. Of course they do, because ultraviolet light is the highest frequency that we can obtain in the light spectrum. And ultraviolet light is what they're now using to be able to look at the luciferase that gets inside your body by certain activities. So this is a comparison chart. Now we have the DNA on the left and the RNA on the right. This replicates and stores genetic information. It's a blueprint for all genetic information contained within an organism. The RNA converts the genetic information contained within DNA to a format used to build proteins, then moves it to the protein factories. So the structure, the DNA consists of 2 strands arranged in a double helix. These strands are made up of subunits called nucleotides. Each nucleotide contains a phosphate and 5-carbon sugar molecule and a nitrogen base. RNA has only 1 strand, but like DNA, is made up of nucleotides. RNA strands are shorter than DNA strands. RNA sometimes forms a secondary double helix structure, but only intermittently. DNA is much longer polymer than RNA. A chromosome, for example, is a single long DNA molecule which would be several centimeters in length when unraveled. RNA molecules are variable in length, but much shorter than long DNA polymers. A large RNA molecule might only be a few thousand base pairs long. Sugar in DNA is deoxyribose, which contains 1 less hydroxyl group than RNA's ribose. RNA contains ribose sugar molecules, and without the hydroxyl modifications of deoxyribose. Bases in DNA are adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. RNA shares these, but contains uracil rather than thymine. RNA forms in the nucleus and then moves to specialized regions of the cytoplasm depending on the type of RNA formed. DNA is found in the nucleus with small amount of DNA also present in mitochondria. Due to its sugar, which contains 1 less oxygen-containing hydroxyl group, DNA is a more stable molecule than RNA, which is useful for a molecule which has the task of keeping genetic information safe. RNA containing a ribose sugar is more reactive than DNA and is not stable in alkaline conditions. RNA's larger helical grooves mean it is more easily subject to attack by enzymes. This is actually good news. So those people who are affected by this RNA thing that they have decided to get can actually go and make their bodies alkaline and actually help themselves. So it says here that DNA is vulnerable to damage by ultraviolet light, but RNA is more resistant to damage from UV light than the DNA. This is why the great purpling is happening right now, because ultimately this is what they want the most of around in the 15-minute smart cities, is the RNA. and the people with the RNA. Because the DNA, they want that out of here because they can't control that one. But the RNA they can control when it's combined with technology. So I wanted to also share this that I found when I was looking for something else as well. This is PubMed article, and it's in the National Library of Medicine. This is PubMed. It's in the government website, .gov, NIH.gov. Electrodes build themselves inside the bodies of live fish. This is very disturbing, actually. These are what they've been doing with nature and in labs and stuff. They've been letting these things go into the waters, and they're changing everything. Alive in the airways, live endobronchial foreign bodies. Synthetic biology. Synthetic biologists design living materials that build themselves. From plant metabolic engineering to plant synthetic biology. You see this? Why are we so bent on playing God? Why? Why are we doing this? It's not really us, though. It is the darkness, of course, that's doing this synthetic biology because it can be hacked and it can be programmable. The evolution of the design, build, test, learn cycle. Anything to destroy the God of Light's creation, because the God of Light is the one of life, and all life is what is important to the yang or light principle, while the yin of darkness is doing other things, having its own type of creation, which is quite the opposite. So I had found this, and it was quite disturbing because I was like, electrodes build themselves inside the bodies of live fish. What? I came across this information from something else that I was looking at. I had been across different websites, and of course, I'm not clicking on these accept all cookies. I don't want them having permission to spy on me, even though they do when you visit their site. I guess they're limited on some level. But if you acquiesce to all the requests to bend to their will and give up your free will power to them and their whims, that's when they take advantage of us. So I had just found this, and I was just browsing around. Substance that transforms into a conductive polymer using the body's own chemistry could improve implantable electronics. This is what I found. I mean, that just doesn't even have anything to do with anything. This is what happens when I'm just browsing, looking for other things. I come across these kinds of information. Obviously, I'm supposed to, because it's part of my process, is to see these abominations coming about. An injectable gel tested in living zebrafish can use the animal's internal chemistry to transform into a conductive polymer. That's like Frankenstein. We're playing God and Frankenstein, making monsters everywhere, because this stuff can be hackable, programmable, it can be monitored, and it can be killed. And, this is the ultimate control of all living things. And I am not the Grim Reaper person to, always talk about darkness, but I do feel like these things need to be brought into the light so that we can comprehend what's truly going on. And am I afraid of this? No, I'm not afraid of this. I mean, they're already putting this stuff in our food and everywhere else. But to just be aware and say, I don't consent to this at all. And to focus on the light, because I focus on the light every day. It's just that I am here to help spread this kind of awareness so that people can see what's coming down the pipe. And it will only shine more light the more people are aware of this kind of thing that's happening in science. This is all over the internet about what they're discovering and what they can do. And they're so excited about this. They've gotten humans excited about this, when all of this is not even coming directly from humans. What it is it gets presented as a possibility, and it's things that they've been doing in the underworld. But the light is shining, it's coming. It is coming, and it's getting brighter. And they're talking about, sunspots and sunbursts and all this. And they want you to be fearful of that kind of thing. But all it is we're kicking back into overdrive with the light. that's what's coming. We're in the breath of Brahma, where we breathe in and we breathe out. And when we breathe out, it's like deflating everything, and the darkness has to have its sway, because it's a sine wave of energy. And if you can think of time as a sine wave of energy, because everything in this existence is vortex fields of sine wave energy. And that's what I've been learning about Hyperborea, and this idea and concept of, we funneled down from the stars. We're just energy funneled from the stars down through the different spheres that create our personalities. That's why the zodiac is so important in our being. The stars can dictate who we are and who we chose to be based on, coming from the light. So, it's hard to get people to actually see in a broader spectrum of what this existence truly is, why we're having this experience, and why we're having this fight right now. It's because we were given this realm to come and play, to come and experience being human. And this is what I get from every spiritual place and all of the ancient knowledge of our world and how it was expressed back then. It's a lot. And just knowing that our spirit is eternal, but the darkness doesn't want it to be eternal. It wants control and to maintain our incarnations in their realm. They want to be able to control it. So that's why they're developing the metaverse for us, is to be able to control us fully, because our DNA is now coming online and getting more light. And as we ascend, we have our awakening. And that's why it's transforming right now. But this is this, and then I've got another video coming up about Ahriman, which is going to be another level of what this age of Aquarius is going to be about and what Ahriman actually represents. So I've been doing research on that, and I'm going to be talking about that soon, because it's just evidence of this has happened in the past, and what we're doing is just repeating the process. That's how prophets can know exactly what's going on right now, is because it just happens time and time again. But the knowledge gets broken up into different fragments, and then you have to pull it back together in order to be able to read the signs in the heavens, pretty much, because that's where it comes from. The stars are the eternal clock that will not stop. And that's why these greater beings actually created this realm. And we are part of those greater beings. And we just came down here to have this experience. Fascinating information, nothing to get worried about or frazzled about. And this physical world is just exhausting. And all we can do is just hang on and try to make the most of it while we're here, while we get to witness this big change that's coming. And I do believe it's going to get lighter before the end of it all. We're going to see a division in the world from the technocracy that's rising, and then the natural world of people who just wish to be in communities and to help each other. That's what I see right now. So nothing to be afraid of, just something to be thinking about, for the future. And I'll see you guys on the next film.